AITA for telling my girlfriend I am not going to financially support her if she quits her job to pursue an Etsy business. I've 27 meters been dating my GF25F for almost a year now. I am a remote software engineer at Amazon and she works at an Amazon warehouse. Before we started officially dating, we discussed our finances and decided that we would keep our finances separate and split everything 50-50. I told her before we started dating that keeping finances separate and equal was important to me and she agreed to it. However, she has lately been mentioning how she wants to quit her job because it's making her miserable and start focusing on her art more. I told her that was a bad idea and that she should at the very least have a different job lined up before she quits her current one and that she could start her Etsy business as a side hustle on weekends and weekday evenings and then pursue it full-time if it's profitable. She has been passive-aggressive about it to me lately. She thinks because I make enough money to comfortably support us both, she should be able to pursue what makes her happy. I think my suggestions to her problem were reasonable. I don't think she needs to risk her income and dive headfirst into this art thing till it proves to be somewhat profitable. She doesn't even want to apply to any other jobs because she only wants ones where she can do something artsy. AITA for saying I am not going to financially support her if she decides to go forward with such a risky move. Edit: You really don't need to tell me your opinions about whether you think our 50-50 split is fair or not. We're both adults and she agreed to it. I am not making her do anything. I don't love my job either, but being financially responsible is important to me. I understand some people think splitting equitably is more fair and I disagree with that. But that's okay. People can have different opinions and do what works best for themselves. But that's not what I am really asking about in this post. Edit: I am breaking up with her. Apparently I am controlling and bad boyfriend for expecting a grown adult woman to pull her weight in a relationship. My exes were engineers too and 50-50 worked great for us and we had the same morals and drive. My current GF is different from what I am used to, but her creative, spontaneous, carefree side is not cute to me anymore. She's just irresponsible and I am tired of being the mature one. I am done with this. I don't feel like she is an equal partner to me. I am all for being entrepreneurial. A lot of my colleagues have ventured out on their own and become successful. My GF has no plans and just wants to wing it and let her passion run free. I am done with her. She is better off without me. Thanks Reddit. NTA, this is a girlfriend of only 1 year. Not a wife or even a fiancé. There is zero obligation to financially support her, especially when she seems to have no idea how to run her own business and hasn't even tried her hand at it yet. She seems to want to be a sugar baby and is already getting passive-aggressively upset at OP's refusal to fund her artsy lifestyle plans. Do not do it, OP. It will just make the breakup extra ugly and guilt-ridden. Even if she was his wife, it should be a mutually agreed upon plan. Just because they could get by on his salary alone, doesn't mean it doesn't affect their financial future. Are you going to sacrifice retirement so she can feel good about doing Etsy instead of a regular job? NTA, she is a new girlfriend, not a wife sugar baby. You agreed to terms before you started dating and now she figures she's riding the gravy train. I'd say this is a red flag and to be careful about how she responds next. Exactly. I think it's perfectly okay for a woman to expect her husband to financially support her when they have kids and she chooses to stay home with the kids, but they're not even married. That's entitlement. It should be discussed. I took my leave and went back to work. I started my own business so he could be with me. I do not expect every mom to be able to do that or every family to be able to afford to quit one income after a child. NTA, your suggestion to her is perfect. She is extremely immature and entitled. She can of course pursue what makes her happy, but at the end of the day there are real bills to be paid, and if she cannot do that while doing things that makes her happy, she needs to be an adult and keep a job that pays the bill. Absolutely keep your finance separately and do not give in to her request. Also, you have only dating for almost a year. Imagine her entitlement if you are actually married. Good God. NTA, you're not married, and even if you were, she couldn't make a major financial decision like this unilaterally. It's ridiculous of her to go out on such a risky adventure with no backup. If she wants to start a more artsy endeavor, then she should start small while keeping her job. It's extremely presumptive of her to assume you'll support her if she's going down a path which has a large likelihood of not being profitable. You AITA for not wanting to support her. But if she's working at the warehouse, she's presumably working a job that is notorious for underpaying and mistreating workers, while you work from home and get paid a lot more. If you out-earning her by a lot, and she hates her job, insisting on 50-50 for everything is likely not going to work in the long term and will breed resentment. If splitting everything 50-50 is a requirement for you, you need a partner who makes similar money to you. I get wanting to help people that help themselves thoughtfully and responsibly, but sometimes people get stuck and lose hope until someone shows them they can do the thing. That it isn't hopeless. Your GF is an Amazon warehouse worker. That is an intense, demoralizing, exhausting, abusive environment that leaves people with very little energy to do much else. So anything they do in off hours is unsurprisingly spent doing things that help them to recover and/or avoid pain. If she is going to leave, avoid an employment gap, and keep up with her bills, she is going to need some help support. It's fine to decide how you will and would not help. You AITA for wanting her to be a responsible adult while maintaining the boundaries you agreed upon. But do take into consideration what it takes, not just in materials but time, energy, money, transit, attire, etc. And think about the ways you are willing to help. Review a resume, build a website, help with SEO, social media, and/or monetization. Help her get some job search profiles up so that maybe you can click and apply for her. Do mock interviews. Cover the bills for the 2 weeks or so between the last paycheck from Amazon and the first paycheck at a new job. If you find that you do not care to help, do yourselves a favor, break up. My BF works a labor-intense job. I have a corporate WFH set up. I make slightly more, cover what he can t. If I made him pay 50-50 then he wouldn't have much else to make himself happy. I feel like pressed for 50-50. The GF agreed because she wanted to be with him. This agreement largely benefits regardless of the GF wanting to open an Etsy shop. Sounds like she probably just wants to cover more of the living expenses since he makes more. How can you devote yourself to a side hustle if you're reusing your entire paycheck for living expenses? I'd be interested to hear the girlfriend's side of the story. AITA, whilst it is good to be supportive, the reality of doing that kind of work to survive will hit her hard. I once started my own business and very quickly began to hate doing something which I had previously loved doing because so much pressure comes along with it when you are trying to make a living from it, not to mention dealing with awkward customers, etc. Best to work it up gradually as you suggested. That way you can make a decision as to how much of a part of your life you want it to be. AITA, she should realize how big of an ask this is and she should make sure that it's even a viable option before even bringing it up. Did this myself, albeit not with Etsy, after years of freelancing on the side while having multiple day jobs, and after many years with my partner, and I didn't make a profit the first year. Could not have made it without his support, but it was a risk with an end date we had discussed and both agreed on before doing it. If I hadn't been able to turn a profit, I would have to get back to a regular job. Thankfully, I made it work and later returned the favor when my partner decided to go back to school. Then it was my turn to financially support him in his pursuit of happiness. But we both agreed, both times. AITA, your finances are separate, and, to be honest, it would be nearly impossible to make as much on Etsy as one would with a full-time job. Jumping on the top comment here, AITA, if you set the precedent that she can live off your money, she will pursue what makes her happy at your expense. Further, you haven't even been saying a year. The fact that she already feels comfortable saying she can live off your money is a big red flag. As you pursue this relationship longer, pay close attention to her mindset. Yikes, that last edit is dripping with toxicity. People have different relationships and dynamics, and that's fine. But calling someone you've dated for almost a year a naive moron for wanting to break out of the 9-5 routine. Maybe you need a break from each other, because that's not okay. There's a healthy way to communicate, and then there's whatever that was. You have been dating less than a year and are not even married. She should not feel so entitled to your money. AITA, I am assuming that you live together. Now seems like as good a time as any to discuss where all of this is going, since if you see yourself as never supporting her financially, it may be a deal breaker for her. AITA, it isn't your responsibility to financially support her at all. If she wants to make art, having a paying job that pays the bills does not stop her from making art. And if she isn't creating art while she still has a job, then she would not be successful making money off her art. If she quits her job without having the money to support herself, wish her well and separate from her. ESH, your girlfriend is being a butt if she expects you to bankroll her new job idea by supporting her indefinitely while she figures it out, especially when she hasn't done any planning to see if it's going to work. She does not get to decide how you spend your money. And if she quits her job and expects you to support her, that's exactly what she is doing. If she wants to make this her new job, she needs to treat it as a business. And right now it does not sound like has any idea what the numbers on that look like. As you noted, doing this as a side hustle first would help her establish some of those parameters and make you both feel more financially secure about making the jump in the future. You do not get to cherry pick the parts of the story that make someone else look bad and say those are the only judgeable elements. You must make, 3x what she does, and yet you split bills equally. That is a butt move. She agreed to it. Did she have a choice? Was there any room for her to negotiate that with you? Because when you tell her before the relationship starts that keeping finances separate but equal is important to you, I get the impression that her choices were to acquiesce or walk away. I get it. Nobody likes a gold digger or a mooch, but there are ways for her to contribute meaningfully to the communal finances without such gross inequity. You were fortunate to find someone who wanted to be with you badly enough to have agreed to those terms, past tense intentional. You got what was important to you because she agreed to it. How are you helping her get what's important to her? Again, not suggesting that you roll over and become her personal piggy bank, but there are other ways to show support. Part of being in a relationship with someone is wanting to see them happy and fulfilled. At some point in many people's relationships, that can or does involve sharing money. You clearly aren't at that point and may never be, but she would not have suggested this if she didn't think you were getting to that point. You value financial responsibility because you're afraid of being with a gold digger or someone who only values you for your paycheck, because you're afraid of someone else making decisions that damage the security you've worked hard to build for yourself, because you're afraid of not having enough resources in the future. And when she wants to make bad financial decisions, that rightfully sets off all those alarm bells for you. Help her hear those alarm bells too. If she can't, or if she continues to feel like you owe her something just for being around, that's a fundamental incompatibility. Is this person only worth keeping around in your life when she is paying her own way? Not judging you if the answer is yes, but she needs to know if that's the case. AITA, I have never intertwined finances with someone I am dating. I am married and we still have not fully intertwined finances with no immediate plans to do so. AITA, I have a friend in a similar situation. They met as co-workers at a huge global retailer almost a decade ago, and when they started dating it was separate finances, 50-50 split on bills. In that time he has gone from working as a cashier to being a training manager and has doubled his income. They got married. She lost several jobs, and decided she was finally going to follow her true passion and start selling her art online. He has been paying all of their bills for about 4 years now. She has applied to 0 jobs, spends anywhere from 2 to 6 hours per week making art, and has sold a handful of items at around 20 each. Turning your passion into your source of income requires a lot more than passion. If just creating art was all that was needed to make money off it, she would have already been making money off of the art she has already created. It takes discipline and smart decisions to get your brand up and running. Her complete lack of planning shows a lack of either. You agreed to split everything 50-50 and she wants to change that agreement. You are AITA for telling her you would not change that arrangement, but you have decided if it is worth ending the relationship. AITA, she has no right to any of your money, especially since you split things 50-50. You can keep her from making this choice. but she should be aware of the risks. It might be a good idea to sit down with her and have a chat about the options she has to get her business going. She could do it on weekends and start working fewer hours if her business is on track. AITA, you've only been dating for a year and made it clear to her in the beginning that you wanted to keep your finances separate and split everything 50-50. If she wants to quit her job, she needs to be able to support herself financially without relying on you. However, her reaction to you saying you wouldn't support her financially if she goes forward and leaves her job is a fair deal. Info: so you make much more money than her, but you split the costs 50-50 rather than proportionally. Also, you have a cushy software job while she is working at an Amazon warehouse which has a reputation. Are there any other compromises you could offer? Nah, in this situation, working at an Amazon warehouse is a pretty terrible job. Of course it's making her miserable. You should try to look for some kind of compromise. At the least you can help her look for a less demanding job. I also think you're off for splitting everything equally if you guys live together. The salary gap must be huge. I agree, this is nah. She probably feels unsupported, and it is understandable because a long-term relationship should be a partnership. It would be weird to live with someone who can watch their suffer in a poopy job and do nothing to help. It would be easy to feel unloved in a relationship like that. On the other hand, they are in a relationship for only a year and she agreed to 50-50. It's quite possible their values are different and it would not last. The transition from dating to a full trust-based and love-based partnership takes time, and big decisions like this are too steep steps in a too young relationship. And the op is right. Starting a handmade business is really hard. You're not compatible. She values finding purpose and happiness and likes taking chances. You value financial security and are risk-averse. This is never going to work. Nobody is the whole. You just want to work as a couple. AITA, my ex had a degree in computer science at a time when they were gold and jobs were plentiful. He went through a series of jobs and quit each one. Finally he decided to stay home and pursue his real dream. Except he had no idea what his dream was. After supporting him and our kid for 2 years, I decided I was better off just looking after 2 instead of 3. Amazingly, when my financial support was gone, he found a job in his field and managed to keep working. I was going with nah, but after your last edit, that's a huge she definitely is better without you. I could not be happier for her that you're breaking up with her. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.